One of the things that the Conservancy has been phenomenal at is telling the story of the preserve, but the thing that we're working on even more is telling our story. A lot of people don't realize who we are or what we do. Some of the stories that I get the opportunity to hear about the difference that the Conservancy is able to make in people's lives are phenomenal.
The McDowell Sonoran Land Trust has dedicated itself to the preservation of the mountains and surrounding desert, a task which needs and deserves the support of the entire community.
Years and years ago, there were very few of us, and we had to do everything. There's so many rewarding things over a 20-year period of time. But I really and truly liked working on the trails, creating trails as well as maintaining them. And in those days, the early times, we built the trails ourselves.
I was in the first class, the first steward class. We didn't know at the time that it was going to be such necessarily a big and wonderful thing, but it's turned out even better than my wildest dreams, actually.
A lot of people don't realize the Sonoran Desert is said by many to be the most diverse desert in the world, and that's credited specifically to the fact that we have 2 rainy seasons a year. And the work that we're doing out here in the preserve has the opportunity to have a global impact. And statistics say by 2030, 50% of the human species will live in an arid environment. The human species is becoming a desert species, and it is the least researched environment in the world. So the work that our Field Institute, our stewards, and our staff are doing into the science of the desert has the opportunity to make a global impact. If you look at the wildfires in California that are caused by invasive non-native grasses spreading wildfires quickly. What's the work we're doing here in invasive non-native grasses, and how can that help our neighbors in California? If you look at invasive non-native grasses, again, from a global perspective, lightning strikes cause wildfires in Australia that are decimating indigenous villages. What is the work that our stewards and our staff are doing here in Scottsdale, and how can that make an impact in Australia? As we move into the future, we're looking at the work we do here and how can that help so many more.
The Parsons Field Institute is a research center of the McDowell Sonoran Conservancy, and our mission is to inform natural resource management through citizen science and research partnerships. We have programs in long-term monitoring, so we look at what's happening on the preserve over time. So we want to make sure that the birds and the arthropods and the butterflies, all aspects of the preserve, are protected and continue to thrive, and that their habitat is truly protected over time. And we also look at best management practices. So we look at invasive species management and also ecological restoration.
What's the most unique is the fact that we have over 700 volunteers that come out and commit over 60,000 hours a year to taking care of something that we don't even own. I mean, if you think about the commitment of our volunteers and the people that come out here and do the great work that we do, that is so incredibly. To find a collective of individuals that want to come out and give of themselves and give of their time and their passion to care for something is incredibly unique. It's something that I haven't seen anywhere.
There's no question that the city owns the preserve. And there's no question that there's only a handful of people at the city that really have anything to do with the preserve. And they do a great job, but they couldn't do it without us.
There are many people that feel, citizens of the city, that feel that the city takes care of and pays for the maintenance of the preserve. Well, that's not true at all. In fact, it is the hundreds of stewards that we have out here that are doing everything in the preserve.
The over 60,000 hours a year that our volunteer is valued over $1.5 million in labor that the would would have to provide.
It's a close-knit group. We join because of our passion for the preserve. We connect to the mission and vision, but then we connect to each other. We're a family, we're a Conservancy family, and we're there for each other.
The opportunity to be able to teach elementary school kids about the difference that they can make in our environment, about the difference that it makes in their lives. Seeing the inspiration and the excitement when an elementary school kid discovers science for the first time gives me goosebumps. To see kids wanting to learn more about how they can change the world makes me cry.
We are an inner city school, and a lot of the families, just the backgrounds just don't have the funds, the means to participate in things like that.
Science kind of means like how good things happen and how things happen in life. And I just like it because it's fun and because it's like really fun to do.
Having this type of experience, I think, will go a longer way than opening up a textbook.
Science is important to us because all the plants, if we didn't have plants, we wouldn't have a lot of animals.
Seeing the looks on those kids' faces as they learn to appreciate what it is that we have here, our over 700 species of plants and animals, is just thrilling.
The fact of the matter is that the Conservancy needs to be here in perpetuity, because without the Conservancy, who's going to take care of this preserve? I mean, unless the city all of a sudden comes up with millions and millions of dollars to hire, 50 or 100 rangers, there's no way that they could do this on their own without our help.